Good evening, YouTube. It's Bama Mobs here, and we're wrapping up another big night in Alabama high school football. Tonight was the first round of the Alabama State football playoffs, and as always, I'm following Class 6A, particularly Region 7, but in the playoffs, it's about everybody at this point. Tonight, I did go to the first half of the Spain Park versus McGill-Tulane football game. Game went as I expected. So Spain Park came out, offense on fire, and they was up 14-0. You know, you could smell the blowout coming, but then McGill-Tulane scored a touchdown. And then it was 21-7, and then McGill-Tulane scored another touchdown, 21-14. So around halftime, I did have to leave the game, and when I left, it was 21-21 tied up. And the way that game played out, McGill-Tulane eventually had a 10-point lead. Spain Park scored back, and final score was 2 scores, Spain Park. They won that game. Tell you what I know about Spain Park after seeing them in person. Their offense is firing on all cylinders. The only numbers you need to remember is 5, 17, and 20. If you can stop those numbers on their offense, there's a high probability you'll win the game. If you don't stop them, that scoreboard is going to light up. And as I've said in my other videos, at this point in time, with all the 7-on-7, the way offenses have changed, the old moniker, defense wins championships, is wrong. Offense wins championships. And Spain Park proved that tonight. And there's a lot of teams out there with high-powered offenses. Look at Muscle Shoals. You know, one game that was down 21-0, another game that was down 22-0, stormed back, almost won one of them, and won the other, you know, against who they play, Austin, where they was down 22-0. Anyway, we're going to run down the scores for tonight. My next video will be looking at the second round matchups. If you would, hit that like button down there. It takes like a millisecond. Subscribe to the channel, hit that notifications bell, and we are now going to dive into the scores. Man, I cannot talk. We're going to dive into the scores. So we're now going to move into the technology room. Here we go, moving over. Getting over to the technology room, and we have arrived. So let's get this lined up. Scores for tonight. So again, this is Class 6A in the great state of Alabama. So Pike Road, as expected, beat Bessemer City 37-7. Pike Road was the region champion. Next up, St. Paul's #1 defense in the state of Alabama shut out Helena 26-0. Hueytown hosted Percy Julian. This is probably like a 2-3 matchup. Close game, 28-21. Spanish Fort. They had their hands full with Benjamin Russell out of Alexander City. That game was tied to the very, very, very end of the game, but Spanish Fort luckily got out of there with a win. Saraland, nothing else to say. Region champs, they hosted Chelsea, blew them out 42-3. That is going to be a long bus ride back for Chelsea. McAdory with Tumpka, competitive game, 24-23. Again, McAdory lucky to get that win. Next up, what I've already talked about, Spain Park McGill-Tulane. Spain Park is probably one of the most potent offenses in all of Class 6A. Beat McGill-Tulane 44-35. Yeah, Spain Park's defense leaves a lot to be desired, but when you can put up numbers like that, hey, who cares? Russell County over Northridge. Russell County was second place to Pike Road in their region. I don't know a lot about Russell County. Russell County may have some hosses on that team. I just don't know. I haven't seen them. It's on the eastern side of the state. If anybody knows, leave some comments below about what they got. Moving on over to the Northern Division. Everything up this way is the Southern Division. Moving to the north, Oxford blew out Buckhorn 42-0. Up in North Alabama, Hartselle blew out Minor 64-7. Hartselle is the #2 defense in the state of Alabama. Actually, #3. I need to back up on that. #3, technically. Fort Payne I was talking trash earlier this week how Fort Payne was my sleeper team. They barely beat Pell City, 24-23. I really thought they lost the game where they was able to, I think it was down 17-7 at one point, but apparently was able to put some points on the board. This was a game I was highlighting for this week. Homewood was hosting Athens, Alabama, and final score 31-24. The Patriots moving on to the second round. Parker, we all knew how this was going to turn out. I said earlier in the week, Parker by 4 touchdowns, ended up being 35-0. Coleman starting basketball season. Next up, this is another game I expect as an upset. I thought Southside was going to be that scrappy team, was going to hang in the game, maybe get a couple of fumbles and eke out the win, but it just didn't happen. Mountain Brick easily handled Southside 45-7. Muscle Shoals still rolling along, still winning games 52-7. Muscle Shoals is the #1 offense statistically in the state of Alabama. Now, after seeing Spain Park and seeing Muscle Shoals both in person, Spain Park's offense is head and shoulders above Muscle Shoals. Just Spain Park's timing, technique, tenacity, error-free football, that is Spain Park. Now, don't get me wrong, number 5 and number 0 for Muscle Shoals, I think they both run like a 4 flat 40, so if they get half a step in front of you, they are gone. So if you can corral those two guys, you might win the game. Clay Chalville, the number 2 defense in the state of Alabama, easily beat Gaston City 33-3, and that is your wrap-up. Those are all the scores for tonight, November the 8th, 2024, in Class 6A football in the great state of Alabama. As always, leave a like down below, hit that notifications bell, subscribe to the channel. All is much appreciated. Check out my next video where I'll be going through the matchups for next week.